Okay, this is the second page of our review. So this is the quadratic formula. So you have to memorize the quadratic formula in order to be able to use this. So the quadratic formula, before I even use it, I've got to get into the form where the terms equal 0. So I got x squared minus 6x minus 2 equals 0. So this one's already in the form. Your a term is 1, b term is negative 6, c term is negative 2. Then, the way to remember the formula, remember the negative boy could not decide to go to the radical party being squared. He missed out on 4 awesome chicks, and the entire party was over at 2 a.m. So whatever helps to memorize that formula. Okay, so we do the opposite of b. So it's opposite of negative 6 is positive 6 plus or minus. Then I'm going to do b squared. Now often b is negative, so you got to be careful. Negative 6 squared is positive 36. So you should do that part in your head and not actually write negative 6 squared, because actually technically it's not correct if you write this. If you wrote negative 6 squared, that's an incorrect statement, because this equals negative 36. You need to do negative 6 squared if you write it. You always plug in with parentheses. That equals positive 36. If you're plugging it in, you make sure you put parentheses around it, or just square it in your head, which is safer. Minus 4, a was 1, c was negative 2, all over 2 times 1. So I get 36 minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. So I get negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8, plus 36 is 44. 44 is 4 times 11. So if I do the square root of 4, that's 2, and the square root of 11. And then when you go to reduce it, you have to simplify the square root. You look at those 3 terms and ask, so what will go into all of those? Sometimes it doesn't simplify. So I get all these have 2, will go into all of them. So I divide them all by 2. I get 3 plus or minus 1 times the square root of 11 over 1. So it says 3 plus or minus root 11. And this one's pretty easy to type in your calculator to get the decimal. Do 3 plus the square root of 11, gives you 6.317. 3 minus the square root of 11 is negative 0.317. Okay, for b, we got a is 2, b is negative 8, c is 9. We do opposite of negative 8 is positive 8, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 8 squared is positive 64, minus 4, a was 2, c was 9. So I get 64 minus 72. That gave me negative 8. So we'll see this is going to have a different kind of a solution later, but right now we're going to only work with real numbers. So right now we'll say that has no solution. For the next term, I can move the 4x squared to the other side because I want to keep the square part positive. So I subtracted 4x squared. I'm going to add 2. So I get 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. A is 3, b is negative 7, c is 2. So I did negative of negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. Minus 4 times 3 times 2. I get 49 minus 24 gives me 25. So this one could actually have been factored. We may not catch it. So it's this quadratic formula. So if it does happen, we just got a perfect square. So square root of 25 is 5. So I get 7 plus 5 over 6. That's 12/6 or 2. 7 minus 5 over 6 is negative 2, is positive 2 over 6, which is 1/3. Okay, new topic is special right triangles. We have 2 different types. 30, 60, 90, that's the first 4 of these. And then 45, 45, 90 are the bottom 4. Pattern for 30, 60, 90. It goes n n root 3 2n, which means whatever the side opposite of 30 I'm going to call n. Opposite of 60 is going to equal n times the square root of 3. So it's going to be 5 times the square root of 3. That's why that's 5 root 3. Opposite the 90 is equal to 2 times the side opposite the 30. So opposite the 30 was 5, so this side is going to equal 10. Okay, so that's if they give you the one that's opposite the 30, which makes it the easiest type. On this next one, they gave us 6 root 3. That corresponds with 2n. So I solve for n, so n is 3 root 3. So opposite the 30 is 3 root 3. Opposite the 60, well, I've got to do 3 root 3 times square root of 3. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9, which equals 3. I get 3 times 3 is 9. So that side's 9. So I filled in my information. Opposite 30 was my n, that's 3 root 3. Opposite the 60 was 9. And we were given opposite 90 was 6 root 3. On the next one, we were told that opposite the 60, we gave us 3 root 3. So that equals n root 3. So I can just look at this and figure, oh, n is 3. So opposite the 30 is 3. Opposite 90 is 2 times 3. This time they gave us opposite the 60 was 12. So I got opposite 60 is n root 3. So I get n root 3 equals 12. I divided both sides by square root of 3. Then I'm going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 3 so I can simplify it. So I get 12 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. 12 over 3 reduces to 4 root 3. So that's what n is. N is 4 root 3. N root 3, I did 4 root 3 times root 3, it'd be 4 root 9. 4 times 3 is 12, is what we were given. Then 4 root 3 times 2 is 8 root 3. So those are your special triangles for 30, 60, 90. The other ones are 45, 45, 90. Well, the pattern for 45, 45, 90, it goes n, n. So these two sides are going to equal each other. It's an isosceles right triangle. This side opposite 90 ends up being n root 2. So if I know this is 9, that makes this side 9. This side ends up being n root 2. This time they told us the one opposite 90 was 8 root 2. So 8 root 2 equals n root 2. So if I go to solve this, I have n root 2 equals 8 root 2. Well, by looking at it, I can see, oh, n must equal 8. So these two sides are both 8. On this next one, we have to simplify this thing after we solve it. So again, opposite 90 was 8. So opposite 90 is n root 2. So n root 2 equals 8. I divided both sides by square root of 2. 8 root 2, 8 over root 2. Multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. I get 8 root 2 over 2. That reduces to 4 root 2. So this side's 4 root 2, that side's 4 root 2. On H, opposite the 45 is n. So n equals the square root of 6. That means this side's square root of 6. Then the last side is going to be square root of 6 times square root of 2. That's square root of 12. Square root of 12 is the square root of 4 times 3. So the other side is going to be 2 root 3. And that side's 2 root 3. Okay, this is the second page. So there's one more page left, which will be on a third video.